Hello, and welcome to Life Notes. I'm your host, Paulette Payne. Thank you for joining us for this very special series, part 2, in fact, of our highlight of the CCRTD, or the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development. Last time on the show, we spoke with the director of the center, Dr. Shafiq Khan, and college administrators about the importance of the CCRTD to the cancer research community. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with two faculty members, Dr. Odera Mara and Dr. Beatrice Thompson, about their work with the CCRTD. And we'll also hear from students, or a student, about the impact the CCRTD has made in his life as a scientist. Doctors O'Mara and Thompson, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome for having us.
Now, of course, like I said, we're highlighting the importance of the CCRTD, and of course, anytime you have the opportunity to enrich the lives of students, there's certainly another entity that enables you to do that, and in this case, it's the CCRTD. Can you talk to us a little bit about, Dr. O'Mara, how the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development has benefited you and aided you in teaching your students?
So I have been here the past 8 years, and I started off as an assistant professor and worked my way up to associate. So I've been able to do the research that I'm passionate about in prostate cancer, and especially now I've moved into working into prostate cancer in African American men in particular. So the Cancer Center here has promoted that, especially because we work with the community, we meet with the community. So it's opened my eyes, because before I was just doing cancer in general, but now it's much more focused to seeing why it disproportionately affects African Americans. So that's been important to move my career forward.
Now, last year you joined us on the show, and certainly you were doing great things at that time. How far has your research expanded since we spoke with you last?
I've done some publications, for example, so I've been able to publish my research and get grant funding. Right now I have 3 different sources of funding from the government to do my research, and so with that I've been able to employ people and to train students, and so it keeps expanding. Since then I've graduated 2 students with PhD last year who have moved on, and so it has expanded, I would say.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure those students will go on and be great leaders in the science community. Dr. Thompson, can you talk to us a little bit about how the CCRTD has impacted your research specifically?
So I am a postdoctoral research associate, and I came to CCRTD to do research and get it more hands-on. The lab that I previously came out of was mostly or mainly bench work, taking samples from patients and just doing bench work, whereas the CCRTD has it more hands-on, where you can actually go out and talk to these people that has been affected with prostate cancer and also do research on it. So you're sort of more knowledgeable when you do the research, and you're able to go out and talk to the community about the importance of getting maybe checkups, the importance of probably preventing this disease in our community.
So it sounds like the CCRTD has allowed you to take a more hands-on approach.
Yes.
As it relates to making an impact in the community. Mm-hmm. And of course you do your research behind closed doors, if you will, when you come back on campus to study and to further your research.
Yes.
So talk to me about your research. What is it specifically that you're studying?
Okay, so currently I'm focusing on prostate cancer patients, but we're mainly focusing with the African American patients. We currently have samples in from serum samples in from African American patients, where we're able to look at different levels of comparing African American with Caucasians. We're able to look at protein levels. We're able to look at proteins that are known to be either highly upregulated in prostate cancer patients compared to that of normal. And we've taken it a step further, where we're actually comparing Caucasians with African Americans, so we can be able to distinguish why there are cases where African American patients or men have this case is prevalent in African American men.
Dr. O'Mara, can you talk to us a little bit about why, or what the research says about the higher levels of prostate cancer among African American men as opposed to their white or other racial counterparts?
So there's not a lot that has been done to study why African Americans get prostate cancer more prevalently than any other race, but some have suggested genetics has something to do with it. So there are a certain number of genes that have been discovered that they say is higher in African American men than other races. So that's one thing. Another thing is environment, diet, for example. So there's many theories there, but nothing quite definitive, so that's why we're trying to work on it some more.
Hence the importance of the CCRTD.
Exactly.
Now, can you talk to us about why you think it's important for the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development to be housed at Clark Atlanta University? And we'll start with you.
Okay, so first of all, the community surrounding Clark Atlanta is minorities. So I think when you have a center that's close by, that's actually focusing on the community, I think that's more so, that's the importance, like you're focusing on something that's right here, and that's like something that's very important.
Dr. O'Mara.
And I agree with what Dr. Thompson said. You're working, it's rare that you find a prostate cancer center working within the actual community it's serving, so that puts that as at an advantage, because I believe we're the biggest prostate cancer center working mainly on African Americans in the United States, so we're set in a very ideal place, I would think.
Certainly, and I agree. When we spoke with Dr. Khan and Dr. Brown and Tommy Dortch last time on the show, they said the same thing. So Clark Atlanta University and the CCRTD, they're doing something very important for the community. Right. What's been some of the feedback when you've gone out into the communities and addressed this topic? And Dr. Omar?
So when we go out, when we have the community outreach activities, or when we do that radio shows, for example, people call in, so that's gratifying for me when you talk about something, you don't know if anyone's listening, but people call in and ask questions. So it makes you see that what you're doing is actually important, because many times when we're working, sometimes we forget we're working for the people, but when you actually hear the people, it makes a big difference.
Right, when you hear the voices and you see their faces, what's been some of your experiences out in the community?
Well, this is I'm here just for a short period of time. Well, I just got here, but I know when I have, by the word of mouth, when I shared with individuals, it kind of put sparks in the brain, like, oh, I need to go and do this. Oh, that's, so let's do something different about the community. So just by the word of mouth, spreading out to the communities, some people have been more alert and wanted to make change.
And that's what the CCRTD is doing for not only the Atlanta community, but the cancer research community in general. Doctors, thank you so much for joining us today on Life Notes, and continued success to each of you in your profession.
Thank
you.
you
For having us.
And thank you for watching, but stay tuned. We'll be right back with more after these messages.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
It's time to join forces. Get energized and fuel up right. Because starting today, every kid in America has a mission. Bring out the action hero in you. Be part of the greatest action movie ever. The first movie that puts you in the action. Show us how you train and eat like an action hero. Join in at actionheroalliance.com.
Up to 40% of businesses never recover after experiencing a major disaster. Make a plan at ready.gov/business.
Lafayette. What you doing?
I'm not gonna lie, definitely not easy.
Hey, whoa.
Just gotta get through the day.
How do you stop it?
Being used to doing something with a cigarette makes it hard doing it without one. If I can relearn to get through my workday without cigarettes, I can relearn anything without cigarettes.
Relearn life without cigarettes. Free at becomeanex.org. A new way to think about quitting.
So, do you have any questions?
What is your soup of the day?
We have a mulligatawny soup.
Oh, do you have any specials?
We have a steak special today.
Oh, how's that cooked?
That's pan-seared and then...
Does it come with a side dish? Is it grilled? Can I have it steamed? So what do you recommend? What kind of pie do you have?
You an actor.
Aren't you from Ohio?
Any questions?
Ask questions. For the 10 questions everyone should know, go to ahrq.gov.
There's a monster in my bathtub. There's one on the couch. There's a monster on my bed.
Keep innocent things from triggering an asthma attack.
Please make the monsters go away.
Learn how to stop their asthma attacks at noattacks.org.
CAU-TV, educating and entertaining since 1982.
The success of any college or university is determined in large part by the quality of students they produce. And at Clark Atlanta University, the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development is helping prepare and produce scientists for the next generation. Today, I'm joined by student Derek Morton to talk about his experiences with the CCRTD. Derek, thank you so much for joining us again. You were here with us last year.
Well, thank you for having me.
Now, before the camera started rolling, you were telling me all the wonderful things that happened in this last year for you. Can you talk about some of that?
Well, first and foremost, from last year to this year, I have now become a PhD candidate. And so now I'm in the dissertation defense stage. So that'll be happening at the end of this year. And I plan to finish up my studies here at Clark and graduate.
Well, that sounds very exciting. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Now talk to us about how the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development has helped you in this process.
Well, it's been instrumental in this process. The CCRTD, the Cancer Research Center here at Clark, has first and foremost recruited faculty from all over the world to come here and work, and they are well known and highly productive. And so upon coming here, I got a chance to work with several of them, and I chose my mentor, Dr. Chaudhary. And the center has been instrumental. So they have found support for graduate students. They fund us 100% tuition and stipend. So we don't work. We can focus all of our time on academics and our research training. And lastly, the center is very collaborative in nature. So we work with other labs on the floor, as well as partnering with other major institutions across the country. And so that's been instrumental as well. And I personally have published 4 articles, peer-reviewed articles thus far, and have several more in the pipeline. So the center has been instrumental in my success.
And you've been quite busy.
Yes,
that's very impressive.
busy.
And
yes.
It's also quite impressive that the center is providing you all funding assistance to help aid in your academic career.
So in conjunction with the university and grants that the center has, they fund us 100%. And so no issues with working and trying to juggle, your education. So we focus solely on the science.
So there's no excuse that you won't be graduating next year.
No excuse.
Well, talk to us about a little bit about the research that you've been presenting since last year.
Yes, definitely. So also the center, along with the institution, have provided me with opportunities to attend national conferences. And so I just got back from a Philadelphia conference, the American Association of Cancer Research, and there I presented my research that I'm currently doing. And I work with tumor suppressors. And so my work is inactivation of tumor suppressors and how their inactivation affects the disease state of prostate cancer.
And so you're carrying on the work and as it relates to prostate cancer research in your studies.
Yes.
So talk to us about why it's important that the center, and of course knowing that prostate cancer disproportionately impacts African American men, talk to us about why it's so important that the CCRTD is housed at an HBCU.
Well, I think it's most important to serve as a model for young African Americans, which sometimes we're not represented in various fields as we would like to be in the media, et cetera. And so I think it's important that it's housed here to be a model for other institutions in our community. And so being able to come to a HBCU along with the rich history, et cetera, I believe that the center serves great purpose in the community, and being housed here furthers the tradition of African American education and what HBCUs mean to America.
Well, hearing you talk, I'm thinking of your mom. I'm sure she is so proud of you.
Yes.
Now, did you always know you wanted to be a researcher?
Well, not in the beginning. You know, I've always liked science. I've always liked making things and discovery, and I've watched as a kid watching science channels, et cetera. And so I always knew that I wanted to be in science. I didn't know what that would look like. So I didn't know if it would be in the health field or would it be in basic research. But I've chosen basic research, and I've been very happy with it.
Well, my hat goes off to you and for enduring this process, because I'm sure research and study and writing can be frustrating at times.
Oh, very much so.
But the reward at the end is so much greater. Now, as we close out the show today, can you talk to that student that's considering the sciences or the math field, but they're not quite confident in their abilities? Can you talk to that student?
Well, I would say work hard and persevere. I've always thought perseverance is key. And so, you know, even in my own story, getting here, you know, there were times where I was like, oh, I don't know if I can take this test. Nobody in this classroom looks like me. Nobody, the teachers, you know, I don't know if I can relate. And so you just have to persevere and understand and have faith that you can make it. And so, and look for role models. You know, when you do your college visits, ask where the science department is. You know, ask to speak to a student, ask how they got there. So continually ask questions and ask those that are there how they got there.
Well, Derek, you are making strides in this profession and the educational field. Congratulations, and I look forward to you walking across that stage next year.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us for this very special edition of Life Notes. To find out more about the CCRTD and the services it offers, visit www.cau.edu. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.